Masks of dyslexia are literally endless. The last thing we want to do is walk into school and say, like, gee, I wish I was academically stronger. I wish I could read better. Like, we don't even want you to know we have an issue. So we're definitely not going to admit that we want it. The other thing, too, is we're not going to admit that we want it because it's so scary to admit that because we actually don't think we're ever going to get it. We don't think we're ever going to learn to read. Again, adults don't ask for things or tell you they want things that they're not sure they're going to get. They say, oh, well, we'll see. Or if it happens, it happens, right? It's ridiculous for a child or for us to expect a child to say, you know what? I really wish I could learn to read, or I really wish I was reading better, because A, they want to hide it because they're ashamed of it. And B, they don't think it's going to happen. And if we can't expect adults to exercise that kind of vulnerability, we definitely can't expect that from kids. And I'm going to tell you, the masks are totally endless. You've got the wallflower, the kid who doesn't want to be seen. They kind of try to fade away. You've got the kid who's acting out, just trying to get out of the classroom. I've worked with so many different types of kids. My personal favorite was charisma for diversion. Okay, so here's what I would do. I would be as charismatic as possible so you wouldn't notice that I couldn't read. Okay, so I would try to charm my way through a group project or charm my way through the day. And all for the purpose of diversion, right? So, and this is kind of a funny story. Back when I was in school, they weren't emailing parents, right? They were literally sending snail mail home. So if something happened, they would either call your parents if they needed something immediate, or if they needed to, like, for things that they would send an email about, they literally wrote your parents a note and put it in the mail. Okay. Well, they used to send academic warnings every couple weeks. Okay. This would be, hey, just to let you know your kid is really struggling in XYZ, right? Well, I figured that out and I volunteered to get the mail for my family. That was one of my chores. And I would go through the mail and I would pick out anything that came from my school. I would go and open it and figure out if it was an academic warning or not. And if it was an academic warning, I would fold it up and put it in between the books on my bookshelf because ain't no one gonna find it there. No one was gonna find it in between the books because I never pulled them out and no one else did either. So that is how I tried to hide it so that my parents, of course they knew, but I didn't want them to know. I wanted to hide that from them because they're the people you want to know the least. Because you are so ashamed and you're afraid somewhere inside of you, you're afraid that they're going to be ashamed of you. Of course, my parents were not ashamed of me, but in my own child mind, that was a big fear. So there are lots of masks of dyslexic kids. I always say I have never met a reading resistant child, but I have met a failure resistant child. And if you believe you're going to fail at something, you're going to resist it with everything you've got. It's just a mask that we put on so you don't know how much we want it.